shortly. Uh, Good morning or good afternoon, everyone, depending on where you are. Welcome to the third day of the 2021 OxSEA Festival. First, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Belinda Larasati, and I'm a law undergraduate from Oxford University. I have the pleasure of being your moderator for today. With me today is our esteemed guest from Ruangguru, Mr. Richie Gunawan. Ruangguru is an edutech startup company based in Indonesia. It was founded in 2014 and has grown to be one of the largest education-focused technology companies in the world, with presence in Thailand and Indonesia and Vietnam. A bit more about the man himself. Prior to joining Ruangguru, Mr. Richie graduated from the National University of Singapore Business School. He started his career as Senior Regional Brand Manager at Unilever Southeast Asia, based in Singapore, then moved to a management consultant to become a management consultant in the Boston Consulting Group, and then a Senior Vice President at Lazada, the Southeast Asia e-commerce giant owned by Alibaba Group. Currently, Mr. Ritchie holds the title of Senior Vice President of Product, Business, Operations, and Content at Ruangguru, the biggest education technology company in Southeast Asia. He'll be starting us off with a 15-minute presentation, followed by a 30-minute Q&A session where we'll open the floor up to questions from the audience. So please feel free to type any questions you have into the chat. Also, please make sure to adhere to the house rules, which are posted at the top of the chat. We encourage you to turn on your videos throughout the session. Please ensure your audio is muted unless advised otherwise. And if you have any questions, please ask. Don't be shy. Use the Zoom chat to type out your question or quote unquote verbal question if you would like to voice the question out yourself. Use speaker view for the best experience. Now, without further ado, here's our special guest, Mr. Richie Gunawan.
Hello, hi. Thank you, Belinda. Can you hear me? Great, loud and clear, right? All right. Okay, hello, everybody, everywhere around the world. Thank you for having me in this festival. I think I'll just get to it. I will share with you guys about what and who Ruangguru is, right? Okay, you can see my slides, yeah? I'll proceed. So as Belinda mentioned, right now I'm the Senior Vice President at Ruangguru. Basically, Ruangguru is an education technology startup based in Indonesia, but already operating across Southeast Asia. So I'm in the management team working directly with the founders to really realize the vision of our company. We see ourselves as an education super app, and we have ambitions beyond Southeast Asia. We have global ambitions. If not for COVID, you will already have seen us in multiple continents around the world. So let me begin with a story of how this whole company started. So Ruang Guru in Bahasa Indonesia, it means teacher's room. So it was founded in 2014 to help students within a system, a huge education system that is Indonesia, but there is a system that is very dysfunctional. Why so? We have around 50 million students. We have 300,000 schools. We have 3 million registered teachers. So there are many more teachers who may not be registered. But even among those registered teachers, less than 50% actually meets the minimum competency. So there's a lot of money being spent in the country on education simply because the main education system provided by the government is not enough to give what the economy needs. And even more sadly, if you look at what we will say the ultimate benchmark of the quality of education across countries, if you compare, we use the PISA score by OECD. You can see that Indonesia is number 3 or less than number 5, but from the bottom, right? We are performing poorly, well below the international average. For a country as big as Indonesia, this is a very sad situation. There was also a study by a professor from Harvard University that even when they zoom into Jakarta, the capital city itself, yeah, you can imagine, right? In every country, you will assume the capital city will have the best people, the most talented workforce. But even Jakarta itself, excluding data points from the rest of Indonesia, is measured to have the competency that's 128 years behind the world average. So it means that even Jakarta needs 128 years at its current rate just to catch up with the overall average competency of any other workforce in the world. This is a very serious problem. And if Indonesia is to be a very economic powerhouse to progress the nation, it starts with education. So that's the main trigger for why Ruang Guru was even founded by the founders. Now we go deeper into this. I guess most of you, at some point in your life, you may have had what they call tuition, right? Whether it's your private tuition, or maybe you guys also have been private tutors to other students, your junior, to earn extra income. Or for most people in any country, generally there's the tuition center, the after school tuition. Now, in Indonesia, there's a huge demand for this, but that huge demand itself is not equalizing enough. Why? Because it's very expensive. Not every household can afford to send their kids to go for tuition. So our mission, we start by saying that, hey, how can we take this after school tuition, which is supposed to supplement the gap in the main system, more affordable for more people? So we have succeeded to do that by combining the use of technology and content. So what we offer to the market right now is at least 1/10 cheaper, 10 times cheaper than the traditional offline tuition center alternatives. And over the years, we have calculated that more than 70% of our subscribers have never even accessed tuition chains, which means we are actually finally reaching those people who cannot afford this after-school tuition in the first place. We are creating new demand by increasing accessibility to quality education for the masses. So, as I mentioned earlier, we are Southeast Asia's first education super app. Yep. We want to solve this problem that I mentioned earlier through technology and great content. So for us, the way we look at how we revolutionize learning is to really, how can we make use of learning content spanning all subjects, all curriculum, and personalized for different students with different strengths and weaknesses, and standardize them. So you can be a student in a remote village in Indonesia, or you can be a student in Jakarta. The content you access is the same quality. You do not need to depend whether, okay, the good teachers are in Jakarta, the less good teachers are in the village. No, now the village kids also can access the same content, the same standardized content that they otherwise wouldn't get. And we take it further when we use artificial intelligence through all the data points that we keep gathering. We now know how to encourage and motivate students. As you know, all of us, even myself, I'm a very humanities guy. During my college days, my pre-uni days, oh, I love economics, I love geography, I love history. But when it comes to biophysics, chemistry, oh my God, I'm like, oh damn, I just don't feel motivated because I just cannot get it. Now, with technology, now we can help people like that. You may think you suck in maths, but we'll make maths fun for you. We'll make maths digestible for you in a different pace compared to your friend who is a nerd in maths. That's how we want to help drive the improvement across all subjects for all students. So let me show you a short video to really illustrate what exactly the product is. Sorry. Somebody said that the volume cannot be heard. Okay, let me share again. Sorry. Tell me if cannot hear it yet. So as you see, that's just some of the key features that we actually had last year, but we have even advanced beyond that. We have seen how we have incorporated elements of gamification, social learning, because at the end of the day, it's never easy to ask someone, let's download an app, buy an app to study, right? You ask anybody, let's spend the money to buy the latest games. Okay, let's watch the video, right? Okay, but let's study. Let me think about it. So it is an uphill battle, but we are playing in a space that is difficult but not impossible. That's really what Ranguru is trying to change the mindset so that every student gets motivation that learning is for life, not just because I have to do for the exams, right? And I think so far we have done quite a decent job. We have become a household brand for education in Indonesia. We have, as of now, we have 22 million users. We have worked with more than 300,000 teachers across Indonesia, and we are now 4,000 employees strong. Even better than that, we are quite proud because we are not only famous in Indonesia. If you talk about the circles within the learning education sector around the world, you can see we compare ourselves with the best of the best globally. These big names, the pioneers in online education like Coursera, Udemy, Khan Academy, you can see we have had more reviews than them. You have equivalent number of global installs than that, but you see that we are even rated even better. So for you guys to know, generally, when you look at any technology products, the more reviews you have, the lower your rating will be because the early groups are your fans, right? Those who love you. But the later groups are people who are more picky, people who are going to complain about everything. How come it's so laggy? How come there's a bug? How come my app crashed and so on? But so many people love Ruang Guru such that even when we have more reviews than all these guys, our rating in App Store is still higher because people truly find the value and they love what we are giving them. Even when we look at from a business point of view, we are a strong market leader. There are two charts here that I would like to show you guys. At the top is the chart where Ruang Guru brand is compared to every major after-school tuition brand in Indonesia, including those offline guys that have been around for 10, 20 years. They have network of thousands of branches across the country. But we have already beaten all of them. Even when compared to them, we hold 43% of the whole market share for after-school tuition center. Even more amazing, if you look at the bottom pie, we only compare ourselves to online education provider, we have a dominant 86%. So literally 9 out of 10 people using an online education for primary to pre-university is most likely than not using Ruang Guru. But beyond that, I need to emphasize that we are a profit with purpose business. Yep. Because what we do, we encourage people to have a better future, a more productive future. Most companies, they sell services for you to consume. After you consume your food, your shampoo, your games, that's it. But you consume our product, you become better and you have a brighter future because now you become smarter, you become more motivated to chase your dreams. Now, for us, we also know in Indonesia, there is still a lot of inequality in the country, right? Not everyone, even no matter how cheap Ruang Guru price our product, there's always going to be a lot of people still cannot even afford the handphone or cannot even afford the smartphone to even access the app. So from the very start, we have made sure that we, even as a startup, and I can tell you, usually startup doesn't have a foundation. This usually happens for big companies with CSR, right? CSR departments. But from the very start, we already established our own foundation where we work with partners like Google, MIT, the government institutions to channel the subsidies and donations to really bring our product to people who cannot even afford to pay for it, right? So that they can have a fighting chance at progressing through the education system and going to universities later on. So since 2018, we already reached over 500,000 of such people, right? We have educated more than 500,000 students for free. We have even trained the teachers that will continue to educate these students in the villages and in the remote areas, 15,000 plus of them. We've even developed and invested our resources to build learning modules for these teachers and students because they may still have further learning disabilities or learning lagging behind. So this is what we are. We see ourselves as a profit with purpose. We are in the game to make profit, to be sustainable, but we do it without forgetting our vision. We need to serve the best education service and content to our customers. Now, however, that is who we are famous for originally, right? We call ourselves, we serve what we call the connected K to 12 market. Yep, the grade 1 to grade 12 people. And there's a big lot of them. But now we realize what we do is replicable across a wider segment. So we have decided to go even beyond this. We've decided to go and serve the connected higher education group and the connected working adults, the millennials, right? These are also currently underserved. We see in Indonesia and in emerging markets. And the way we go about it, we have done so many innovations. First, we have launched, actually, we have also gone offline ourselves to build this brand called Brain Academy, a technology-enabled tuition center to help us penetrate more of the K to 12. We have also launched a corporate learning management system. So now companies that want to train their employees also can use our technology and our ability to produce content to train. And we have worked with Nestle, Tokopedia, Indofood, and many more companies. We have also launched an individual lifelong learning platform called Skill Academy, a direct challenger to Udemy, Coursera, edX, and LinkedIn Learning. Literally how we can make learning even better, more effective, and more affordable for Indonesian adults. And we have already expanded internationally. We cannot use the brand Ruang Guru because it's very Indonesian. So we have taken local names. In Vietnam, we are called Kien Guru, and in Thailand, we are called Start D. We have launched this last year, and both are already #1 for the sector in each country. Now, our hyper growth and purpose driven mission already attracted top global investors. So we have raised a huge investment from top tier investors, General Atlantic, GGV Capital, $150 million. So that's why we are lucky to do this to fulfill our mission. But beyond that, we have lots of global and national recognition. For those of you may be familiar with the famous tech magazine Fast Company from US, we have actually been awarded and inaugurated to be the top 50 for this year's list. We are the only Southeast Asian company on the list at number 25 out of 50. And for the education sector, we are number 2. And we are also happen to be the very first Indonesian company on this list. So this is the pride of Indonesia. And we have won many, many more awards globally, locally, regionally. I think it's testament to whatever we are doing is really making a lot of impact to both the society and the business world. Now, even during COVID, we did not only survive, as a lot of startups in this difficult environment, economic environment, a lot of startups had to lay off people. We did not lay off a single person. In fact, we keep hiring more people. Yeah, but because we thrive, because we always feel we cannot let our customers down. We cannot let the students and the parents and the lifelong learners down. So what do we do? Example, we work with all the 5 major telco players in Indonesia to give free data quota, because ever since the pandemic hit us, students are forced to study from home, but not all students can afford the expensive amount of data used to stream the content. We have also launched a learning management system to directly challenge Google Classroom called Ruang Kelas, which is catered really to be hyperlocal alternative for teachers, principals, and school administrators. We have also launched the most interactive online tuition platform. So students now can learn from home and still feel connected and in touch with their fellow students and teachers. We have also launched an English language service now. It's called English Academy. And it's so strong that even after 2 weeks, our servers crash because there's too much demand for people also wanting to learn English language. And in just 1 year, our Skill Academy brand, the challenger to Udemy Coursera, we've already hit 4 million users. We won Google Play Awards, and we still have a perfect 5-star rating in our App Store. And so much, much more. So that is Ruang Guru. We are among the startups that grow fast, grow for the right mission and vision, and we adapt continuously during this difficult time. So that's from me, guys. Thank you for listening. I hope it was a clear and simple sharing with you guys of who and what Ruang Guru is. I'm welcome to have any questions from you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ritchie. I hope you all enjoyed such an amazing presentation. Now, Mr. Ritchie will be answering a few questions. The chat is still open, so please send in your questions, and we'll try our best to make sure they're answered. We do have a few prepared questions that on our part. One of which is, what was your experience in establishing Ruang Guru in Indonesia, and how is it, say, different from other countries, such as when you expanded to Vietnam and Thailand?
Okay, so to clarify, I am not the part of the founding team, but I do know the story. So as they established in Indonesia, definitely it was very different experience with us during my time helping the founders to expand into Thailand and Vietnam. Why? Because it's a tricky balance between, yes, you have the technology and the ability to build the content, but education is very local, right? I mean, at the end of the day, physics is physics, maths is maths, algebra is algebra, history is history. But how you deliver in a local language, at which chapter sequence, there's a lot of work to be done to customize the content. So number one challenge is definitely we need to understand each country's education system. What's the pain point? What's the requirement? How do we customize for that? And number two, I think the ultimate challenge for any startups expanding anywhere, you need to build the right team, right? How do we actually get to find the right founding team in Vietnam and the right founding team in Thailand to replicate our success? That is a very big challenge. And to be honest, we still haven't found the perfect formula, but there are guiding principles. One, we need to make sure these people, especially the founding team, need to believe in what we are doing, not just another startup to join, not just another job to apply for, but do they feel passionately that there is something wrong with the education system that they need to fix, that it starts with that. And if they don't believe that, then maybe they may not be the most suitable to be in our founding team. That is very key, and it's been an ongoing search, and it's not easy because education is not as sexy as e-commerce or many other sectors, right? But luckily, because of the COVID-19, okay, EdTech has been gaining a lot of attention. So now we are having a lot of people apply for us, and now we can have the luxury of choosing among a bigger pool of candidates. Hope that answers your question.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Ritchie. It seems you have a question from the audience. Uh, Pardon Siddhartha says, "Hi Richie, have you ever worked with national governments to help them provide education during the pandemic when schools are shut down?"
Yep. So I mentioned earlier, I think we definitely from day one we have always been working with governments, but in Indonesia especially, there are two different kind of government, local and central, right? We have to work with both, and we have to navigate through the bureaucracy. But for sure, during COVID-19 lockdown period, we actually, and that's how we won the Fast Company Award for most innovative top 50 companies in 2021, because we launched a free online school campaign in the middle of last year, where we actually served more than 10 million students to mirror their schedules in school. So it's as if now they have a proper scheduling from school, because when the COVID gets shut down and everyone is forced to study from home, easier said than done. If you want to coordinate 50 million students, it's a nightmare. So the government was also a bit overwhelmed, like, oh no, it's not easy. Suddenly people get shocked. The coordination was difficult. But because we have the agility and with the technology, we definitely help them and tell them, government, Ministry of Education, we are ready. What do you need us to do? So they tell a lot of the schools, hey, you have an option to, if your school is more ready, fine. If your school is not yet ready, go and join Ruang Guru. They have a free online school. They have scheduled classes from morning to afternoon, right? Schedules on maths, bio for every level, for every curriculum, for every region. So that's what we did. And I think that's also our service to the country. And fortunately, it was recognized, and we were proud of it. And now we also won a global award for it.
That's amazing. We have another question from Adrian Wang. Thanks so much for the informative presentation, Richie. Given your background in business and consulting, along with a preference for the humanities, how did these qualities translate into your experience and success at Ruang Guru?
Sure. So it's this question is have multiple layers. Yeah. I wouldn't translate all of this to success at Ruang Guru. I'm always learning. I'm also growing, and this startup is an adventure for anyone, because joining a startup means that even if you're at the management level or you're at the lower level, a lot of things we do not know because there are no answers yet, and we have to create the answer for ourselves. Now, for me, if I look at my career and my background and my preference, I think the main pattern is always the curiosity, constant curiosity to always understand what the problem is, define it.
On YouTube, you can watch it
How
on.
can I answer the problem with help from others, with inspiration from others who may have done it, and to think about creatively how to solve these problems. Now, this repeated cycle of being curious, never satisfied, and always experimenting actually can help anyone be more successful in any organization, and particularly organizations that are startups. So for me, that is the background I had, because with my previous career, I've always had mentors, I've had bosses, and I have colleagues who challenge me to think otherwise. That when I cannot find the answer to a problem, what do I do? Do I keep quiet and hope someone give me, or do I proactively find it? Now, with that spirit, anyone, you guys go anywhere, you can solve any problems anywhere.
Thank you for that, Mr. Ritchie. We do have another question, such as, why did Ruang Guru's founders choose to create a startup instead of entering existing companies or working from inside the government?
So let me try to represent their thoughts as much as possible. But I think the view is that it's just different people have different preferences, right? There are many talented people that is actually going and joining the government since last time and now to help fix problems and make things better from the government side. I think the Ruang Guru founders' preference is simply feel that, hey, maybe they're just not suited for the government style of working environment, and they wanted to go out and do their part as a citizen in a private company, in a in a non-government company, to pair up in tandem with government. So for me, it's the stories that I always hear from them is as simple as that.
Thank you, Mr. Ritchie. Another question that we have is, what do you think is the most important thing future entrepreneurs should keep in mind before trying to create a startup? And how are startups received in Indonesia in general?
Sorry, can you kindly repeat that question, please?
My apologies. What is the most important thing future entrepreneurs should keep in mind before trying to create a startup, specifically a startup in Indonesia?
I think a lot has been said about this, yeah, guys. If you go to any webinar, so many events, so many articles written, so many podcasts to listen. But I don't think it's just about Indonesia. I think it's just about the fact that before you embark on a journey to build or found a startup, you need to be ready for the amount of challenges that you're going to face. On the outside, it always looks so cool, right? All these successful stories, achievements, wow, startup founders being like awesome guys and awesome, like almost worship now. But behind all of that, there's always a lot of pain. Why? Because the very definition of a startup means that you are trying to make changes to an existing situation. And basically, humankind, societies doesn't take changes slightly too hard. There's always resistance. Resistance from the current users, resistance from the current players, resistance from the government, resistance from a lot of directions. Now, are you someone who can take no and take 1,000,000 and 1,000 no's for an answer and still persevere? If that is yes, that is the basic ingredient. I will say, okay, you can consider starting a startup, because that is the journey you have to go. Because I know I've been hearing a lot of founder stories elsewhere. People always start, no, I want to found a startup because I have a vision. Well, now as I also been in a startup and I got to know a lot of founders, there's a pattern. Vision can also be implemented, guys, within organizations or government. So it's not the only ingredient. If you're in a company and you can have your vision to help the founders or the owners or the investors or the public shareholders to realize that vision, it's still worth trying. And not everyone is suitable for that. Because if everyone thinks that the only way to get things done is to be in startup, then every company might as well just shut down tomorrow, right? There's no point. Now, so the most important thing, again, you need to persevere, believe your idea so much that when everyone tells you it doesn't make sense, it won't work. You're going to fail. You're just going to take it. Thank you. You listen, you try to get a feedback, but you persevere. You keep trying. You never give up. For me, that is the only sure common pattern across all successful startup founders. There are different other factors for sure, but if I can generalize for you guys, that's the only thing guaranteed. Because without it, the startup is bound to fail from day one, whatever sector, whatever the vision.
That's a great answer, Mr. Ritchie. We have another question from the audience. Leon says, "Hi, Mr. Ritchie. Personally, what considerations motivates you to join a particular startup instead of another?"
And a particular startup instead of another startup. Okay. Then this is something that when I share to you guys, you need to be understand that different perspectives are suitable for different life stages. So if I assume you guys are still in school or going to graduate soon or just graduated, it may be very different, the mindset, because I did not start my career by joining startup. I joined only after 10 years after I started my career. But for me personally, why I joined a particular startup instead of another, at my level, there are three things I look for. Number one, do I buy into the vision and mission of the company? Do I even care? Because if I don't care, then it's not suitable for me, because then I will not last long. My passion will not sustain me. Number two, is the founder's personality and style of working, or the big bosses, or at least the leadership team, something that I can work with? You know, there's always going to be personality clashes anywhere and everywhere. But if you cannot even gel with the people that you're going to go through hell together, then you are not going to make the hell any easier, right? That's criteria number 2. And criteria number 3 is then obviously something that is my personal preferences. One, is it a company, for example, a company that doesn't encourage destructive forces or bad habits to the implication to the economy. For example, I have a particular preference to never work in a tobacco industry, right? Simply because I believe smoking is bad. Well, others may think so. It's okay. There's diversity of views. I will never join a startup that, for example, it's all about manipulating data, yeah, to really manipulate users and to, I don't know, to really psychologically manipulate users everywhere. Data, those people that grab the data and combine it. That's just my personal preference. Now, so for me, those are just the 3 reasons. But if I can give a little bit advice to you guys, if at the start of your career you want to consider a startup, then think about it this way. Do you have particular constraints that you need to? For example, do you have financial difficulties that you have to pay back your student loan, or you have to be the breadwinner of your companies? If yes, maybe startup is not for you. Why? Startup doesn't pay well, my friends. They pay well later on when we succeed. So the salaries comparable is not comparable to established companies. Number 2, are you someone who are obsessed about work-life balance, right? Because they always allot these things about millennials and Gen Z. Well, we care about our lives. We just don't want to work. But the reality, my friends, in startup, you are racing against time. So every day, every minute is precious. And that's the reason why people work so damn hard in startup. Because a lot of things, you're already lagging behind a lot of other companies or the market for many, many years. So if you join a startup and you think that, hey, I'm going to go to a startup, do my vision, but I also want a work-life balance, let me tell you, be realistic. It's not going to happen. So there's life choices, and it's okay. I've known of many of my friends who intentionally want to avoid startup, and they have a beautiful, happy life. It's okay. Not everyone who want to have an awesome life have to join startup. In fact, it's all about suitability for yourself. There's different people, different personality. Yeah, because if you join a startup and you expect things to go smooth, or even worse, there have been those surveys where students join startups, and then when they join the first few months, the thing they ask is, hey, how come there is no this system? How come nobody knows what to do? How come I ask anybody? There's no process. Exactly. That's why it's called startup. You go in, you make the process. Don't ask your boss what's the process, because even your boss may not have had time to think about the process. Now, so that is my advice for you, the ambiguity and the uncertainty. But some people love it. Oh, I love it. There's no rules. I create the rules. But if you are someone that, oh, I need to follow the rules, I need to do it well, don't join a startup at all. Okay?
We have another question from OxSEA Keja Susanto. Hi, Richie. Thank you for such an amazing presentation. And as an Indonesian, I'm so proud of Ruang Guru. I have a question. How does Ruang Guru balance profit with the accessibility aspect? And how do they attract investors if they don't maximize profits?
Very, very good question, Kezia. Thank you. And I can tell it's so damn hard. It is very difficult. It is very difficult, but we try. So the quick answer is, we keep thinking about. That's why we even have the foundation, right? We allocate a certain budget that we do, right? And the team that's just dedicated for pure non-profit, right? We work with partners like Google. They want to donate a certain money, or some rich conglomerates in Indonesia that wants to donate money, but they want to know how the money is used in a data-driven method, in a transparent manner. We offer them the opportunity. So that's how we drive the social part. And even in our core product, even our day-to-day meetings, if my team is asking me, hey, Richie, I would like to propose a new game or a new feature on our app, my first question to them is, okay, what are you trying to achieve? And if I compare that to many things that is in our project list, what are we doing to really go back to the core? Are we making things simpler and easier? Are we making features that help the weaker students catch up with the stronger students? Are we also making features that make the stronger students even stronger? These are the questions that we ask every day in our culture. right? In a day-to-day decision making. That's first and foremost. Now, number two is because we are also very disciplined with the way. We are not a startup that splurge on money. We are very careful about how we spend money. We are very careful about how we allocate time and teams and equipments to every single business lines. Because of that, we have achieved strong discipline in our profitability. And that's what investors love us. Because they know that when they give us millions of dollars, it's not that suddenly all these founders start becoming like Elon Musk and start launching rockets and buying yacht and buying big expensive houses. We don't. We use the money to quickly upgrade the technology, to hire more teachers, to make the content even better and better. So that's it. That's the balance we're trying to achieve. I cannot tell you that it's perfect right now, but I can tell you we always try to go to that direction. We never give up on one for the other. We believe we can balance both for the long run.
Oh, we're nearing the end of our session, so we'll just take a couple more questions. Tara says, "Hi, Mr. Ritchie. What have you identified as the main structural issues behind education inequality in Indonesia or specific countries which Ruang Guru operates in?"
Sure. So structural issues, I think there are a couple. Number one is, remember, education is always a state of a situation because of the legacy of the previous generation. A typical problem we know is this. Even when we talk to teachers who are teaching students right now, we realize that a lot of the teachers are also teaching the wrong concepts. But can we blame them? Because they were students of bad teachers before them. How do we break this cycle? That's why what we are doing is meant to do that. Because if you notice in my presentation, I mentioned, we are not only serving students, we are constantly also serving teachers. In fact, a lot of the users of our apps are also teachers who's referring to our app and then double checking, is what am I going to teach my students the correct one? Let me check myself. Let me test my own knowledge. Because the teachers that created the knowledge on Ruang Guru app are the teachers who are really strong in their field. For example, we have teachers that have PhD or masters in biology, physics, chemistry to teach biology, physics, chemistry. But in Indonesia, millions of teachers teaching biology, chemistry, or physics may not even have a degree in that study at all. So that's what we do, and that's what we propagate. Number one, so we need to fix that structural issue of teachers teaching the right things. Number two is also growth mindset. Now, this is a common problem, not just in Indonesia, but almost every emerging market. What is this growth mindset problem? Typically, if you ask a random student in Indonesia classroom today, what are they studying for? They will tell you, yeah, I have to study because my parents will scold me, or I have to study because I have to prepare for the exams. Very rarely, or 0.0001%, someone will tell you, I'm studying because I love the subject. Now, this means what? They are purely studying to beat the examination. And is this good for the future of the country? No. Because what happened? Later on, when they start working in startups or corporates beyond universities, what happened? All this knowledge, they're not grasping the essence of it. They're just used to, okay, I usually work hard, I memorize, do my homework, and I'm done. And that is a problem. Even in Ruang Guru, when I interview so many fresh graduates, they are always struggling in the first few months. Why? Because the first thing I notice is that after I catch up with them, even in the management team, I catch up with a lot of the fresh joiners. I'll ask them, how are you doing? And they'll say like, yeah, I'm actually not sure what to do. I say, why? Yeah, because my boss, my manager haven't told me what to do. Oh, why do you need to wait for your manager to tell you what to do? Yeah, because it's my manager. Imagine in a workforce with no initiative, everyone is just waiting for everyone to do because of the education system, right? For 12 years of their life, what happens? They come to the classroom, wait for teachers to tell them what chapter to read, wait for the homework to be done, wait for the exams to be solved. Everything is waiting for instructions. They have no initiative. And if they have no initiative, how can we be more innovative as a company? So to me, that's the mindset problem. And the third structural problem is actually our country infrastructure. So you guys may have heard all these wonderful statistics. Indonesia, a lot of internet users, high internet penetration, blah, blah, blah. But I can tell you, I've gone to tier 2 cities like Lampung, right? I've gone to Semarang. I've gone to even Bali. A lot of our users that we interviewed, the first problem is, hey, I love Ruang Guru app. However, every 20 minutes, the internet connection start buffering, right? And I can't blame them because the internet is still expensive. Not everyone has broadband. Yeah, even using all this so-called 3G, 4G, not really reliable. 3G, 4G for the first 10 seconds and then become 2G for the next 1 hour. Now, that is a problem in our country, and it's a big country. It's hard to, and the government is working very hard to improve the infrastructure. But that is a problem because without that, how can people access learning at the speed of light, right? So those are the three structural problems. The third one, we as a private player cannot really help directly, but we can continuously communicate with the government to remind them, please help us. But the first two, the first one about the teacher being wrong, that's our main mission now. How can we help teachers teach the right things? But for number two, it's something that we have to work hard, but the payoff is only many, many years down the road, right? When we finally see the growth mindset changing. I cannot launch an app and then next week everyone start to have initiative, right? It's impossible. Now, that is our mission. That's why we need to be profitable to last not for 10 years, not for 100 years, but for 1,000 or 10,000 years. So we can finally change this once and for all. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Ritchie. We have another question from Vaidagi Pillai. Mr. Ritchie, could you please give us a glimpse of how you implement something abstract like mindset in your courses?
Sure. I could go, if I don't care about mindset, I could just, okay, algebra. This is the formula, this and that, this plus this. That's it, memorize, then do the test, done. But what do? We incorporate critical thinking questions in between. How do you combine algebra in a problem setting combined with a role playing inside our videos, inside our multiple choice questions? And then we incentivize them. If they cannot get it wrong, we tell them, hey, we ask the question first without telling them straight what's the answer. Do you want to discuss and explore this in the video, in that folder, in that chapter? If you can do that and figure out by yourself, you can get extra gold and XP, where you can use to upgrade your avatar. Things like that. That's what we're doing step by step. Instead of saying, oh, okay, you don't know the answer. This is the answer for you. Thank you. No. That's how you create people to explore, right? And then motivate, right? That's what we do at a smaller scale. The next level, what we're going to do for that is how can even the way our teachers present the material, instead of, hello, I'm Mr. Ritchie, and today I'll be telling you about about mammals. So mammals are this and mammals are that. The end. Okay, thank you. Can I say I invite you to play a game during that? Can I make you think about, is platypus really a mammal? Why? Have you thought it may not be a mammal? Why not? Let's discuss. Then we have a forum. Let them debate. Let students debate with students. We encourage inter-school competition. Now, those are the little things we are trying to experiment. It's not easy, but it will take a long time.
We'll take one last question from Parin Siddhartha. I think he would like to ask a verbal question.
Yeah. Hi, Mr. Ritchie. Can you hear me? Yeah. So I was just wondering, I have just generally two questions actually. It originally is one question. The first question is, you talked about, implementing things like gamification using, so I'm a psychology major, hence why I'm interested in this. How do you use these kinds of principles, like gamification is, you sound so impassioned about, what you're doing beyond just the profit aspect. So what really drives you and in Ruang Guru in your day-to-day business? What is in it for you?
All right.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Great question. Let me answer the easier question first, since I was never a psychology major myself. The second question first. What drives me? Let me just give a comparison. In my previous job before Ruang Guru, I was working e-commerce. And I'm not sure if you guys use e-commerce enough, but typically most people always have complaints about e-commerce, right? I order something, damn, it's expensive. Damn, it's a fake order. Damn, the product comes and it's damaged. Damn, the delivery comes so late or get to the wrong house, right? And you'll see in the App Store and in the Instagram account, in the Twitter, everybody's complaining and just complain, right? Damn, you cheat my money. Where is it? This fake seller and so on. You feel very negative, very toxic. In Ruang Guru, it's very different. Just read, for those of you who can understand Bahasa, or actually there's a translate function in the Google App Store or Apple App Store. Just read the comments. We do have complaints, but the ratio of complaints to heartfelt gratitude is so wide. Every time I feel down, I feel stressed, and I'm human too. I do have my moments of downness. Even my team, the teams that I manage a team of 800 people. I need to find ways to motivate them. I do for them very simple thing. Every morning, I have a daily stand-up with my team. I tell them, guys, before we start the meeting, let's open up our Instagram account. Let's look at our Google Play Store. Let's read the comments. Okay, complain. For every 2-3 complaints, suddenly there is one. Thank you, Ruang Guru. I'm a parent. I'm amazed because my kid, every time before using your product, every time I see him with a handphone, he's always playing Mobile Legends, right? Always playing some game. But now I'm amazed. He's actually studying. The sound of gratitude from parents who's sometimes so hard to control the kids, right? Then there are also students. Thank you, Ruang Guru. You know, I never thought I can be top 10 in my class because I'm just not smart. But now I realize I can. Oh my God. That is a testimony. When we read stories like that, it fuels us. Even if we cannot help everybody, even if we can help that 10% of our user or 1% of our user to get a brighter future because what we do for them, that's it. That's the meaning in our day-to-day grind in work. So much more meaningful than many other places. So for me, it's as simple as that. Understand that what we are doing is really changing people's lives. That's question number 2. Going back to question number 1. What research design model and consumer behavior or human behavior models? I cannot really speak in jargons to you. I am not the expert in that, but I can tell you, we again start back with customer. We talk to a wide group of our customers qualitatively. We survey them. We have one-on-one with them. Now that work from home, we do a lot of Zooms and Google Meets with them. We do ethnography and observational studies to really understand. We are building that rich insights and data about our users, right? What is the pain point in their life at different moments and things like that. Now, related to the gamification, we realize that at the first basic moment is as simple as you study hard, you do a lot of practice, you are diligent, we give you rewards, right? That's level 1. The next level that we are envisioning is not just giving you rewards and then therefore you study for the sake of studying, right? It's also make the gamification feel more social. That it's not just, hey, okay, I'm Richie, I work so hard, I get all these points and I'm ranked number 1. But hey, are you in your region or in your school level or in your city? Are you also, for those who act for your communities, are you leading? Are you improving? You may not be number 1, but maybe you were number 1,000, but you improved to 800. We actually show it and announce it and we celebrate you for you. Things like that. So this is just the beginning stage. And we welcome people like you. If you would like to join Ruang Guru with your psychology expertise, we are looking for people like that. We are building, it's still early stage. Don't forget, we are only 6 years old. And only in the last 2 years, we finally found the formula. The first 4 years of Ruang Guru, we were struggling. Nobody wanted to use us. Only the last 2 years, we finally managed to do that. So think about it. In just 2 years, we have done so much, but we have much more to do. So our gamification sound as simple as that to you. And I don't have the right jargon to tell you what exactly model or framework that we're using, but we listen to customer, we observe them, and we go to basic human behavior that level 1, they need an incentive to do something. Level 2, we want to talk about pride and prestige that, you know, is more than just rewards, that you want to be seen as someone leading edge in your community. Next level, we're exploring about how to even bring parents into this whole gamification, not just students, because apparently parents are also very competitive, right? Oh, my son is now I have gone up the level. Wow, okay. And all the mothers talk together in groups. That's what we want to do. Not yet, coming soon.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ritchie, for your questions and also for the great presentation. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for this current webinar. Before we leave, would it be okay if we took a group picture?
Yeah, let's do it.
If possible, could everyone please turn on their cameras? And Keja, could you please take the picture?
Yep. Can everyone, preferably open up their cameras and we'll take a screenshot. And there are 2 pages, so you might not know on which page you're on, so just smile for the whole time, it's fine. Okay. Oh, it's so nice to see pretty faces. Okay, we'll take the first page first. 1, 2, 3. Yep. And then the second one, smile. 1, 2, 3. Great. Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh, before we conclude, do you have any last words that you want to convey, Mr. Ritchie?
Do you guys find your purpose in life? Everyone has different path. It's okay, but make it meaningful. Make every second of your life meaningful, guys. Not just for yourself, but to serve others around you. That's it. All the best.
Thank you. And with this, that concludes the webinar. Thank you all for attending, and we hope you have learned from and enjoyed this presentation.
Thank you so much.